Greetings, Pisces. This is Tarot Lumination with your general report for November 2017. You probably know the drill. If not, watch for your sun, moon, rising, squish it all together and reinterpret and tell your own story, okay? We're going to make the best of this. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. Sorry about that. Just trying to keep it simple. I like to think of it as a journey of the heart type of spread. And it's focused on the energy, just so to speak, rather than predicting outcomes or things like that. Tarot Illumination is not a fortune teller. Okay? So, here we go. We're going to keep it right simple. We're going to dive right in, and we're going to forget a lot of the explanatory stuff right at the beginning, and we'll do it as we go along, okay? Thanks, Pisces. Let's have a look here. This is your cut. Cards were already well shuffled in advance, but I like to do things right to the last second so that you're a witness. This is the heart of you, okay? The very core of you, not your mind, not anything else, not your intellect, not your consciousness. This is the heart. This is your legacy energy. This is the energy that you're bringing in with you. You could call it from your past if you want. This is the energy of the ever-present now as you move through this time period. You're always in the now, whether you know it or like it or not. And when you are in that now moment, when you are always in those now moments, you always have the right, obligation, and the opportunity or not to make decisions. And it's through your decisions that you determine the outcomes of your life. And those decisions happen. If you don't make them yourself, it's like they're made for you. So it's, if you want to have a good say in how things pan out, it helps to make your own decisions here. So that would be this energy. And this would be the energy of like, well, how are you going to move forward effectively with that? So that you take all of the good stuff, all of the challenges, and you figure out what to do, how to do it in a way that works, okay? What works for you, which is ultimately the best for everyone else too. And over here, this is the energy of what would be kind of like to be expected, what might be coming at you. If you feel that life happens through fate and that life happens out there and you live in response, then this would feel like fate. If you feel like you are a very active participant in your own destiny, then this would feel more expected and you might be more aware of this. This would be the energy of like hopes and sorrows, hopes and fears, joys and sorrows. Like, what if it all works out? What if it doesn't work out? And this would be more like the, let's say, the momentum going forward, or taking you out as this time period moves through. And we're going to look at this card in a second. They're calling that the weather. These would be the circumstantial energies that would surround you, Pisces. And of course, you're going to make the best of it. Now, can you see here? This is a heart shape. I'm hoping you can see that. Okay. This reading is from the heart. It's from the heart of Tarot Illumination to the heart of you. And we're just hoping that you make the best of it. It's broad, it's general, it's energy, and you can reinterpret however you like. Okay, Pisces? So let's go for it. This is the surrounding energy. So right now, Pisces, during this time period, you might feel as though you're in a bit of a maze. It's okay. This is around you. It doesn't necessarily mean this is inside of you or it's like your energy. It's just out there. In other words, you could feel very challenged by external circumstances, perhaps in ways that might be very, very annoying or cerebral or circumstantial, to do with like figuring out how you get through this month. Like, when you get into a maze, there's all sorts of stops and starts and lefts and rights and ups and downs, and constantly having to figure out what to do at any moment or not. And it can be very taxing on the mind, okay? There's a lot of potential let's say, conflicting energies out there that might put you through your paces and might put you in a position where you're thinking like, gosh, I wish I didn't have to deal with all this stuff right now. Let's have a look. Let's not take it too seriously. That weather does not own you. You're going to make the best of it, okay, Pisces? If you really, really want to, you can take this as something to do with the Chiron in Pisces right now, which is getting very sharply aspected by Saturn in Sagittarius, the truth police, pushing down very, very hard on that part of Pisces energy, Chiron in Pisces, where it's all about you got to reveal it to heal it. We're talking about our deepest wounds, our deepest pain and sufferings, our most subconscious, hidden, buried aspects of self-undoing that we hardly even know we're doing to ourselves. Let's have a look at your heart energy. What's going on here? So it might feel like there's cataclysmic changes going on in your world right now, but deep, deep inside of you, very, very, very deep inside, to the point where I don't know if you've ever lived through earthquakes, Pisces, but when uh, it can be very, very kind of disturbing. It might not be catastrophic on the exterior, but even when you get those very, very deep rumbles underground where your whole world is shifting, it can feel terrifying at sometimes. So if that sort of energy is happening deep in your heart, Pisces, that would be understandable in the conditions, because we might be talking about the most deeply buried parts of any wound and suffering that you might have held on to, or that might have been buried for a very long time, and now it's starting to erupt to the surface in the way that earthquakes and volcanoes can be very disruptive. But it's also very natural. It's a very, very natural process, and there's no point in fighting it. You make the best of it, okay? So, also with the Tower, I would encourage you to see this as one of the most powerful healing cards in the deck. So you might, with any luck, experience this November period here, the Scorpio season, is very transformative and potentially very healing for you, because Jupiter is in Scorpio right now in a very strong harmonious trine with Pisces energy, which could be very complementary. In other words, these like volcanic feelings or these earthquake type feelings that might be happening in the core foundations of your sense of being could be really good for you, because it's all about reveal it to heal it. And then we can apply the healing power of love, okay? Which would be impossible to do without this. That's why we can sometimes view the Tower as a very powerful healing experience. Let's have a look. What are you bringing in with you? Okay, so let's just say there's a degree of innocence about how all this stuff works. It's okay, Pisces. We're all innocent to some degree or another. We all have a lot to learn. We all need to figure out where are we coming from. What have we learned? What are all our skills and resources and talents that we have? And what are we going to do with all this now? And where are we going to go with it? So you might be at one of those periods in time where it feels like a very, let's say, very symbolic crossroads in life, where you're realizing that things are changing forever. No looking back, no going back. There's no going back with the Tower type of energy. So you're coming in, you might be living through this right now. You might have been living through like sequential energy of, lots of little earthquakes that have been going on for quite a while that add up to what feels like a bigger earthquake. And every time a rumble happens, you get shaken and waken up by all that Uranian energy, Uranus and Aries, which can rattle your foundations, really put into doubt or question who you really are, what your talents are, where you're coming from, and yet at the same time waking you up to all these wonderful gifts and talents that you do have. So the question is, wow, what am I going to do with all this going forward? Because it's a realization that you might have had quite a degree of innocence up till this moment in time. But this is really supportive for you, Pisces. The Jupiter and Scorpio thing and the Scorpio period here, it's very, very supportive for you, Pisces. So please, I hope you can see how to take advantage of this Tower energy right now. Okay, and even see this as a blessing too, because these could be all the issues that are coming to the surface that need healing. Let's see, what about the ever-present now? Okay, see, we've got the Nine of Swords here, and that could be an indication that you are without question, becoming very aware of whatever these issues might be. to the point where it's coming into stark awareness in your consciousness, which is exactly where it needs to be right now. In other words, okay, so if you are, let's say, having trouble sleeping, let's say you're physically exhausted, emotionally, psychologically, financially, materially, socially, relationship-wise exhausted, and just trying to figure out what to do with it all, and you're feeling it in your body as a whole pile of like, well, oh no, this, or oh no, that, or oh no, that. And it's just there, like eating away like rust. Maybe not like hideous, huge nightmares, but more like how rust corrodes us and takes away some of our strength and stability and stamina and leaves us fragile and vulnerable. So this might be the type of energy that you're experiencing as you live through the now of this time period. But again, I urge you to see this as good news, because this is what needs to be revealed in order to be healed. So allow those spooks and fears and anxieties to come to the surface, and let's just say live with it for now, acknowledge it. If you have to, start making a dream journal and noting down and putting these in words, because once you start naming these things, then they don't own you anymore. You know, you can start to treat them as entities and energies and fears and things that are outside of your being, that can now be processed and approached and healed and managed, okay? So don't stress too much about that, even though it looks like a very stressful card, even though it looks like we have very stressful cards here. Personally, as Tarot Illumination, I see this as a real opportunity for being blessed and for receiving the healing power of love. Let's have a look. Moving forward, you know you're going to have to make decisions about what to do with all this, getting through this time period. So just like anyone, you're going to hopefully make the best of it, all right? So what have we got? Good. Secretly, this is going to sound really, really weird, Pisces, but secretly, this is what you might have been wishing for and hoping for, because with perhaps not actually being able to put it in the words the way Tarot Illumination is describing it right now, but actually seeing how this can be a really cool thing. It could be a really, really cool life experience to go through these cataclysmic changes where a lot of unpleasant, undesirable, unwanted issues, stuff, feelings, thoughts, wounds, perceptions are coming to the surface in a way that can't be stopped or avoided anymore. And so it feels to me here that it's almost like this is what you were hoping for, probably wishing that you would never actually have to go through anything like this, but in hindsight, realizing that this is actually a good thing, and then making the most of it, realizing this is a real opportunity to touch into the heart aspect of yourself, the love aspect of your nature, which is, you know, kind of fundamental to who you are anyway, Pisces. You are the sign of universal love, of love of all beings, where unconditional love, love of mother child, love of brother sister, love of a painting, love of a flower, love of nature, love of animals, love of compassion, the love of not caring about race, creed, code, or gender, just love for the sake of it, and realizing that you have the opportunity to make decisions that allow you to tune into that energy, so that you can own it. And you're not owned by your fears. In other words, it's almost like a complete reversal here, by understanding that this is potentially a very healing, let's say, time period for you, with potentially long-term projections here because of the Jupiter and Scorpio thing. These two cards, which seem highly contradictory, are actually kind of good news, because, in other words, finally, I have a diagnosis. I'm Pisces. We get the diagnosis. We've got this, and this, and this, and this issue that needs to be taken care of. Now it's time. Oh, it feels so good. Now we can make decisions. How are we going to treat that? We need a prescription of love for this, a prescription of healing for that, a prescription of compassion for this issue, a prescription of loving attention and care and acute focus of consciousness to deal with that issue there. And put it all together, it's all about the healing power of love and realizing you have the access to that right now, making the best of it. So how are you going to make the best of this going forward in a way that's actually effective? I'm kind of excited for you, Pisces. I don't know if you can tell, but I am. Moving forward, allow yourself to feel this. In other words, if it feels like you're in the grip of this, my feeling is to allow that to happen. In other words, do not fear this card. I see the devil card here is working for you in such a way that you get to embrace this as a very succulent, juicy moment, like your favorite meal, which you would never hardly treat yourself to on a regular basis, but only on special occasions. And in this time, you allow yourself to, let's say, really indulge in the process of self-healing. You allow all these things to come to the surface. You allow yourself to cry and weep and moan about things that bug you. And then you allow for the healing to occur. So it can feel very much like, as you go through this process here, it can feel really scary at times, like it's owning you, but in a way that would make you feel bound to the process. In a way that could feel, like like the ripping away of the wounds. In other words, that feeling of having all these, let's say these are like splinters or slivers or shrapnel from all your pains and wounds and suffering over the years, and each one is being removed. And as you remove those, there's a tremendous urge to hold on to them, because I don't know if you're aware of this, Pisces, but sometimes we hold on to our wounds so deeply that they become part of our identity. And without our identity, we feel like nothing. We feel a void. It's very frightening. And so we have this, gripping natural tendency to hold on to our pain and wounds and suffering, because it makes us like who we are. However, the understanding here is the way to move forward is to understand what we're talking about here and allow the healing power of love, the healing processes to occur, so that the energy, the understanding of chains, bonding, being owned by your wounds is no longer acceptable, and that by perceiving these wounds and sufferings as having ownership over you, you can understand that you have the right to have those chains blown away and busted. Can you see what we're going with, where we're going here with this? Like blammo, blammo, earthquakes, volcanoes, blammo, breaking the chains of bondage that hold you hostage to your wounds and suffering. Okay? So this is really good news. I see this is really good news for you, Pisces. Do not fear this. Let's have a look. Where would that take you? Okay, renewed hope, renewed life, a new sense of being, a new understanding that there is new life ahead. And with the Star card, it's very beautiful, because you don't even have to understand or know why or how this happens. All you have to be aware is that you know this. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to get an explanation from anybody. You don't have to try and figure it out or explain it to anybody or even to yourself. What happens is that you feel it at the core of your heart through these massive cataclysmic changes, that something very beautiful, very unusual is happening with you, and it's for the good. It is absolutely for your best and highest good, to the point where you can feel awakened and rejuvenated and inspired to move on in ways that you've never actually known before. We're talking about very deep fine-tuning levels of understanding, where you can have a chance to become really tuned in with the most high vibration version of Pisces yourself that you've ever known before. So this is very liberating. This is very liberating when you add it all up. It's quite profound, actually. So I hope you kind of get what we're dealing with here. Let's have a look. What about the joys and sorrows of living through this, understanding that you're making very decisive decisions to tune in to the love energy here? Okay, so I feel this is very connected to here. what I feel here with the Three of Swords, please understand this is a swords card. It's not a cups card or a hearts card. It is about the swords. So you feel a lot of this pain in the mind. So the way Tarot Illumination sees this is that hoping when you're making your decisions here about how you're going to deal with these huge shifts and changes that are potentially very good for you in terms of deep soul healing, moving forward, you understand that you're kind of going big here. Jupiter in Pisces, that means we're going big with the Scorpio healing energy. In other words, all those pains and sufferings, especially the ones that are most deeply lodged in our heart, usually to do with relationships, where sometimes there is the most deep forms of pain and suffering above all, above everything else. It's the love, or the lack of love, who we loved or who we did not love, who we forgave, who we didn't forgive. Either way, it's the joy would be the exposure of all that heartache and pain so that it could be now healed. The sorrow would be not handling the ability to transform and heal through this energy here, and instead still being locked in the grip of all this pain and suffering that is accumulated in the heart for so deep and for so long. So yes, Pisces, you would have every right to, let's say, fear your own decisions in case you lost courage and stopped this beautiful energy from moving forward, then you would end up trapping and locking yourself into more continued pain that would, linger and linger, and that would need healing at another time. But why not take this huge opportunity right now to blitz this stuff? In other words, it's like, taking like an ointment or juice or a WD-40 type of universal healing spray, which we call the healing power of love, and just go and allow it to heal. Just allow it to heal. So that's the beauty of this, having the Three of Swords here. I know I'm putting like super positive interpretations on some otherwise quite scary cards, but that's how I'm feeling it for you, Pisces. I do not feel anything but good from here with this little Three of Swords, okay? It's about identifying this and acknowledging and realizing it. It's like very healing. It's allowing yourself to cry or weep about these things instead of bottling it in and holding it as anxiety, because now you can reveal it to heal it. It's an amazing opportunity. So moving forward, what do we have? Okay, it's like a reuniting with yourself. That's what I see here. And of course, some people see this as, of course, very much to do with the deep soulmate card. Also, the card of nostalgia, the card of tapping into the past. I feel this card, the Six of Cups here right now in this reading, is that it's about you reconnecting with yourself at the deep soul level, the Pisces person that you are at the deep soul level that has either been ignored or denied or hurt or rejected by yourself or others for time, perhaps a long time, perhaps for lifetimes. And it's now time to change that paradigm. It's time to change this whole thing. And you have the opportunity now. You have the opportunity now. And there is guaranteed hope on the horizons for this to happen. So it's like you get the chance to give yourself a big hug and reunite with your deep soul self that you might have lost track of several lifetimes ago. And now you're getting in touch with that again. So this is not a love and relationship reading, okay? It's obviously you can see how you might want to reinterpret it that way because of these cards here. However, I'm urging you to just deal with this in terms of energy at the most high frequency levels, as vibrational energy healing, where you can see yourself reuniting with yourself, giving yourself a really big, super big love hug, treating yourself very, very nicely, and allowing yourself to comfort yourself, pet yourself, caress yourself, and fall in love with yourself again. Now, we're not talking about vanity here or narcissism. We're talking about genuine love of self, care of self, nurture of self, acceptance of self, allowance of oneself to be who you really are at the core of you, your deep, deep, deep deepest, most heart-loving energy, heart-loving energy, heart-loving energy that you always knew was there anyway. So this is your chance, okay? Pisces, I hope you get it. I hope you make something out of this reading and it made sense to you in some way. Please watch for your sun, moon, and rising. And while we're here, I'm just going to point out, probably going to have to do this on every video from here onwards. There's a little button way at the top here, like with a little round eye blob. It's to do with the Tarot Lumination Silk Scarf Raffle. Just click that button and you'll figure it out, okay? Thank you, Pisces. Have a wonderful November. Please make the most of this. Reinterpret however you want. Thank you for choosing Tarot Lumination. Bye-bye. We'll leave it as it is. Bye.